my name is Joel Dunay, and this is my official unofficial network state exam solution. And now it's the 19th topic, which is about the structure and operation of the routers. This topic is I don't know why it's here. The basic functions, components, and implementation of routers. I talked about this in the previous video. We are talking about layer 3, about the network layer, where the routers are using their routing tables to calculate the best path and to forwarding packet from one network to another. So they are using the routing tables, calculating the best path and forwarding the traffic. That's all what they are doing. If I said something else in the previous one, then please check it. The benefits of segmenting a network with routers is quite easy, because there is something about it at Netacode. So we have three layers, and I'm just going to use boxes. We have the three layers. The least, this is one, the access layer. Access. This one is the distribution. And this is the core. So simply at the access we are talking about end devices connecting to switches and switches, so nodes connecting to nodes. At the distribution layer we are talking about routing, so where the switches are connecting to routers and the routers are interconnecting with each other, therefore they are forwarding messages. And the core is, for example, the backbone of an area, so even for a country, I would say. Now we are talking about the distribution layer, which imagine an example where there are 100 unit computers that are connecting to a single router. Then what's going to happen? Of course, they will reserve the bandwidth, they will use the bandwidth, they need CPU to process the messages. So the problem is that there are a lot of units connecting to a single device, and that will cause even security problem. Of course, if we are segmenting the local area network with routers, or the network with routers, then it will be more secure, because less devices will get data. I mean, advertisements, for example. Less devices needs to use CPU, therefore it will be more secure. Configuration possibilities of routers, console functions, features of console line interface and different modes. So I don't know what they want here. Of course, you can tell that configuration possibilities, that you can configure the IP addresses for an interface, you can do security, you can do management, meanwhile you can do SSH, telnet, you can do a lot of stuff, like doing a database, handling roles. There are a lot of functions. Of course, these are done through the command line interface, which I don't know why it is good, but these are handled through them. The different modes, it is easy that by default we have the user exec mode, and then we are going to get into the privileged exec mode. The user exec mode is simply the mode where the user has a very limited number of monitoring options. Meanwhile, at the privileged mode, the user can configure whatever the user wants. I mean, if there is no privilege levels or some other authentication, then whatever the user wants. Configuration files, editing and saving configuration files. Basically, there are two configuration files. We have the startup configuration and we have the running configuration. The startup configuration has commands that should run after the device has started, or booting commands, and the running configuration is the actual configuration. The startup is saved in the non-volatile ROM. The running configuration is saved in the ROM, which means if we are not saving it, then everything will be discarded or not changed. The changes will not be affected if this will not be saved. We can edit it by, of course, in the console line, or we can simply save it out to a text file, and then we can change or edit it in the text file, and then we can simply load it, and the newly edited or written comments will be there and will run. Authentication methods related to the console functions. As I said, we can use we can use passwords, we can enable secret, so we can ensure that the passwords will not be in plain text, but they will be secured. And I believe that's all. As I said, we can use the SSH, Telnet, and other management approaches, or we can use database yeah. The detailed explanation of the boot sequence of the routers. So by default, of course, we switch on the power on button, then after the router switched on, then it will do a post, which is the power on self-test. We'll do a power on self-test, and then it will try to locate the iOS OSI operating system. So the bootstrap will check the check the bootstrap checks something. I know a register, configuration register. I remember the bootstrap checks the configuration register's value to where to locate the operating system. That value by default, if I remember, were 2102 or 4. So by default, it will check the the startup configuration, whether it has some commands for locating the operating system. If not, then it will check the flash for an operating system image, and if there is no image there as well, then it will check the TFTP server in order to locate it. So after it located the operating system, it will load the operating system, and it will load the operating system, and the operating system will do the running configuration, the startup configuration command, and then we'll put it to the RAM. So that will be the running configuration that's actually running. And basically now we are finished. We get to the configuring terminal or configuring approach, where we are usually having the router or having the configuration approach. So basically that's all about the 19th topic. I believe here you can talk a lot of stuff about the configuration and other possibilities. I believe not that's or those are the aim questions here. So I believe that's enough. Again, if I said something wrong, then I don't really care, and subscribe to my channel.